mentioned Monster House, man. I mean, like, wow. Just in case anyone doesn't know the story, it's kind of incredible. So you had a short film that you did for your thesis at film school, The Lark, which if no one's seen, I would suggest you watch. It's on YouTube, and it's 10 minutes, and it's fantastic.
Thanks.
And I genuinely loved it. I mean, like, just the performances that you got from those two actors, like, are so just off kilter that make it like kind of, it just accentuates the weirdness. But you make this movie, and then off the back of that movie, and this sounds like proper, like, you know, Hollywood Dream Factory stuff. Robert Zemeckis sees it and goes, "I want you to helm Monster House."
It is a fantasy. I mean, I don't think that it basically went that way, and I don't know how to feel about it, because I'm almost like, I feel a bit guilty that I was that lucky, because it was absolutely luck that allowed me to make the leap from a student with a dream to somebody who actually was able to direct a film, and not just any film, like a film that allowed me to do what it is that I do, and put my own personality and soul on screen. It's pretty shocking. Even, you know, all these years later, like 18 years later, I don't know, 2003 is when I started making Monster House. So this is a long fucking time ago. And I went to film school at UCLA, and I grew up in a time where we always heard legends of students who would sort of be able to make the leap out of school into making film, and thinking that that was something that happened to people in other places, other schools, other times. It just felt like that wasn't feasible. And so I was resigned, and sort of in a way happily so, to be doing film the way I had been doing storybooks, things that I've been doing personally, and sort of sharing amongst my friends in the music world, which is where most of my friends were in those days, and sort of, you know, carving a line straight through an obscurity, happy obscurity, and you know, if you watch The Lark, I don't think anybody can look at it and think, oh, this person was making a commercial calling card. It was definitely not. There's nothing in that film that screams Hollywood, come and get me. And I think weirdly for me, I was really lucky, because I was getting my degree in animation at a film school, which meant I had sort of access to both worlds, which is sort of why I went there. I wanted to be able to use both parts of my storytelling muscle or ability. And The Lark incorporated animation and live actors in a sort of animated world and that was exactly what Zemeckis was looking for in a filmmaker who would come in to tell the story of Monster House. And so when he saw it, I think he was like, okay, this is somebody who understands how to use the tools. And then the trick to it was making that first meeting meaningful. And in that instance, I just had a really great first meeting. And a big part of that was that I read Monster House. I knew exactly, because Dan Harmon and Rob Schraub had written a great script.
So funny. Such a funny script, yeah.
Really funny script. And but there was something in the script that it wasn't like, the third act didn't quite land. It was like almost all there, but it was missing a big sort of story element that was still off the page. And I came in with a pitch, and that pitch worked. And
what did you bring to that third act then? Because
I mean, it's a little more than the third act, but basically there was no Nebercracker. Old man Nebercracker died, as he does in the film. But that was it. Yeah, he became the house, and then it was just about doing battle with the soul of
Wow,
your
because
neighbor.
that's crazy. Because Nevercracker's like turnaround is one of the most powerful emotional beats in the whole thing. When you realize that
Thanks.
he's scared and like,
Yeah.
yeah,
So I again, like, I think it sort of goes to this idea of respecting a younger audience's ability to understand complex human emotions and behavior. It was basically bringing a bass note to the story, and a bit more of a character arc to a lot more of a character arc to Nevercracker, who was allowed to have his third act. And this whole idea of a wife named Constance, which gave heart to the mythology and the story. That was all in that pitch, and it was a wild swing. I mean, I actually think it was like insanely naive of me to walk in and be like, hey, Robert Zemeckis, really nice to meet you. Here's what I think you should do with your movie that I have no right to be pitching on. But yeah, that was the meeting.
I love it. And it's, you see the Amblin logo at the start. And obviously, you and I are roughly the same age. So we grew up with, like, Explorers, Gremlins, The Goonies, Monster Squad. And what I got, from Monster House, it captures that feeling of American suburbia that we grew up with in all those Amblin films of the 80s. And it just,
thanks, man.
It's a real nostalgia hit while being, a very modern film.
It's funny, there's two things that makes me remember. One is that the script was actually was contemporary. So I never had a conversation with anybody, and this is a testament to how incredible my producers were on that film. I never had to justify the time that I was setting the film in. In fact, I don't think I ever had to communicate it to anybody. I just did it through the design of the film. And that is actually something I'm just remembering now, because I feel like if in any other context, people would be like, is this a period film? Why are we making this movie that's already like a real risk for us as a studio and making our job harder? Because there wasn't really anything like that. That was, I don't think there were any films that were tapping into that time zone around when I made Monster House. Anyway, the other thing that makes me think about is the fact that I had to beg to use the Amblin logo at the beginning of the film.
Wow.
And they had to go and dust it off from the negative and strike a new print and digitize it so that I can use it at the start of the film.
That's
and
amazing.
I knew it was really important, because I don't think they'd used the animated Amblin logo in anything in quite a while when I made Monster House.
And yet here I am going, for certain people of a certain age, you see that logo and you feel like you're home, because like it's an era.